Hi guys, thanks for having me. It's my first time to Gibraltar. I come all the way from Seattle, where the weather is quite similar to what you guys are experiencing right now. So today I'm going to be talking about a brave new world of ICOs, how to identify scams, and how ICOs can provide more transparency to investors. So first of all, I'm going to give a little bit of introduction, talk a little bit about CryptoSlate, state of the ICO, total ICO and funds raised, talk about the money lost from scams this year, as well as how investors must take precaution and ICOs must self-regulate. So introduction. So in 2015, I began investing and researching cryptocurrencies. In August of 2017, I co-founded CryptoSlate. And in December of 2017, I launched CryptoSlate. In the past 30 days, CryptoSlate's received about 165,000 unique visitors. And what CryptoSlate is. CryptoSlate is a website for cryptocurrency investors and researchers. There's 5 main sections to our website. So first of all, blockchain news. On a daily basis, we cover regulation. We cover how cryptocurrency is impacting culture. We do deep dive coin analysis into individual projects such as the team, the token distribution, technical analysis, price movement. We also have coin rankings. So right now we're tracking around over 1,500 cryptocurrencies that are currently being traded on exchanges. Coin profiles. So for all of those 1,500 cryptocurrencies being traded, we have an individual coin profile page for every one that includes information such as recent price movement, price charts, market cap, team information, social media links, links to the white paper, links to the blockchain explorer. So similar to coin market cap, but with much more information per coin. And we also have an event calendar as well. We're tracking over 130 events worldwide right now. And the biggest part of our site, and probably most relevant to this conference, is our ICO database. So right now we're tracking over 700 different ICOs. These are either ones that are in the pre-ICO stage, or they're active or upcoming, or ones that are recently completed but are not yet trading on exchanges. So this is what our ICO database looks like. We separate it into the pre-ICOs, active ICOs, upcoming, and recent. Everything is organized by how much time is left either for the ICO that's active or an ICO that's upcoming. This is what an ICO profile page looks like. So you can see we have information about what it is. We have the main explainer video provided by the ICO. We also include information such as what coins or tokens the ICO is accepting, and also very specific information about when the ICO started, how much money they're trying to raise, what their soft cap is, what their hard cap is, what the conversion rate or bonus structure and supply distribution. So here you can see information about what currencies are accepted for the ICO, direct link to the white paper, and the countries not allowed for the individual ICO. And here, information about the individual team for each ICO, including links to social media profiles, GitHub, LinkedIn, Twitter. And we have, like I said, over 700 of these for every single ICO, or almost every single one that's currently being traded, or sorry, not being traded, but is an ICO stage. We're adding on an average basis, I would say 50 or so new ICOs per week. So we'll talk about the state of the ICO. So this is from a report by Fabric Ventures called State of the Token Market, which is probably one of the best ICO reports that I've currently seen. I highly recommend everyone read it. State of the Token Market is what it's called, but it shows in 2017 about $5.6 billion was raised from ICOs, with a huge amount of it obviously in December. So according to Fabric Ventures, 5.6 billion was raised from 913 token sales in 2017, and only around 50% of those were actually successful, meaning that they raised the funds intended. And the average capital raise was around $12.7 million. The 10 largest token sales raised about 25% of all capital. That obviously includes the ICOs such as Bancor, Filecoin, Kin, 10x, Tezos, Status. So this is from a different report by Fortune that they tracked $3.7 billion was raised from 372 coin offerings. From that number, about $400 million they tracked has been lost or stolen either via hacks or from just completely fraudulent ICOs. So that's about 10% of all money invested into ICOs has been completely lost. And as a site which provides information to investors about ICOs, we want to make the space more legitimate. And part of that is helping to educate investors to be more, to look out for scams and to also to encourage the ICOs themselves to be more transparent in how they're representing themselves. So how can investors take more precaution? So the first thing to look for when figuring out if an ICO is worthy of contributing to or not is its online presence. So if there's not a team listed on the ICO, that's probably the biggest red flag, I would say. No LinkedIn or GitHub or Twitter profiles, that's also a huge red flag for ICOs. In addition, people should never take an ICO's team at face value. People should always be Googling the founders and even doing reverse image searches of the founders. So this obviously is a French actress and not the CEO of an ICO, but someone, there was an ICO called Empire Card, and they used this as the CEO and people did a reverse image search and quickly found out it was a scam. So another huge red flag is if ICOs are trying to say that there's to be guaranteed profits in any way. And the biggest example is probably BitConnect. Obviously, BitConnect is a Ponzi scheme. It's completely crumbling and crashing down now. But anytime that people or ICO projects are promising guaranteed returns, it's probably a scam. So another thing to look for is the GitHub repositories of these projects. Many of these projects are open source, and with that, they're going to be making regular commits to their GitHub profiles. So if you look at a project and it has an empty GitHub commits, then that's clearly a sign that they're not actively working on the project, and one should probably take more precaution before contributing to it. So a few other factors to keep in mind are poor white papers. White papers that are poorly translated or plagiarized. That's been a big thing over the past few months. With Tron, for instance, people identified that there was several parts of the white paper that were plagiarized. The CEO of Tron offered an explanation that it was just poorly translated. But that's something it's very important to keep in mind is the quality of the white papers and if they are actually original in themselves. Another huge thing to keep in mind is pre-mines. So for example, if there is a token allocation that heavily favors the project developers or the founders instead of the investors, that's another kind of indication that it may not be a worthy project to contribute to, because obviously the goal is that the token distribution is as wide as possible. So if 95% of the token distribution is just going to the founders, that's not a good sign. Another thing is no roadmap or unrealistic roadmaps. All ICOs should have pretty detailed product roadmaps with specific dates to individual milestones. And the last thing is no working prototypes. So ideally, an ICO will not just be a white paper, it'll actually have some software that is in alpha stage. So how can ICOs provide better transparency? So the first thing is that ICOs need to make sure that their white paper is complete, that it's a quality white paper. This is actually the same slide I just gave. All right. Okay, here we go. So ICOs should always disclose the team members with links to the LinkedIn profiles, as well as Twitter and GitHub. Like I said before, ICOs should be publishing a detailed roadmap with specific dates to specific milestones. ICOs should be conducting KYC checks on their customers. And also, ICOs should be undergoing independent audits of their smart contracts, as well as submitting to KYC checks themselves to sites like CryptoSlate, which is a ICO database. So here's how CryptoSlate is trying to help. As I mentioned, there's nearly 800 different ICOs that we're tracking on CryptoSlate, and protecting investors and our visitors is a big part of our mission. So we're going to be adding verified ICO badges to our individual ICO pages when the ICO teams will basically submit to a KYC check themselves. And we're also going to be adding report ICO buttons to every single ICO page so that we can better be informed by our community whether an ICO is fraudulent. And in addition, we're going to be conducting even more due diligence on every single ICO that submits to be listed on CryptoSlate. So to end with a quote by a guy named Mike Golden, it says, when you can program incentives, you can kind of program people's behavior. Now, people think about Facebook as trying to program people's behavior, but it's obviously even more of a serious thing when you have actual cryptocurrencies with real value to program behavior. And this is something which is a fundamental difference between ICOs and just traditional startups. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you, Nate. Thanks very much. That was really interesting. Again.